O soul being summoned by the light of the highest realm quiet, your heart, in this very moment, for a divine utterance, is unfolding in the stillness, one that only those with ears to hear can truly grasp. In the depth of the unseen current where the light of the Eternal One never fades, a movement is stirring, signaling that your destiny is entering a decisive phase. This is not an ordinary crossroads, nor a minor shift in the flow of your days. This is the moment when heaven and earth pause to observe what you will choose to see, where your heart inclines to discern whether your faithfulness continues to burn or has been cooled by things that seem harmless, yet quietly erode the public, sacred substance within. You are called because something was placed inside you from the moment your first breath was given. Before your form was woven in your mother's womb, the Creator saw you, touched you, and inscribed His designs for your soul. No moment in your journey has ever been random. No path has ever been just a path. Every season is a reminder that you are part of the eternal symphony conducted by the Holy One. Yet because you were placed in a position of influence, the forces of darkness seek you as well, for they know that if they can bend you, even slightly slow you down by a single step, lull you into an invisible weariness, the entire road before, you can be shaped in their favor. The greatest danger rarely roars. It does not come through violent storms that force you into shelter. It arrives as gentle breezes that make you recline, comforts that loosen your grip, voices that sound peaceful, yet lead you away from the true source of peace. The enemy of your soul knows well that a heart lulled to sleep is more easily swayed than a heart under attack. It does not need to break down the gate, it only needs you to forget to close it. That is why the voice of the Eternal now sounds like a trumpet of awakening, calling you back to the deep place you once knew, the place where you trembled beneath His presence, where you wept in brokenness and rejoiced in deliverance. O you who have been instructed by the lips of the Most High, know that you are approaching a threshold where light and darkness meet, where not every invitation comes from truth. Some will approach you with kindness, yet carry a tone that is not of the Spirit. Some advice may appear reasonable but lacks heavenly discernment. You must learn to recognize the tone of the divine voice amid the echoes rising from below. Just as Samuel heard the call in the night but did not realize who was speaking, you too may confuse the voice of the world with the voice of the Holy One when your heart grows tired or distracted. But Samuel responded, "Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening." If your heart remains humble in the same way, nothing will be able to deceive your soul. You are lifted not merely to walk, but to walk with awareness. A vigilant mind is the shield against thoughts that do not belong to you. Whispers from the depths seek to slip through the cracks of your thinking, magnifying fear, amplifying worry, or subtly planting the idea that you can rely on yourself instead of the Creator. But once you recognize that life does not flow from human effort but from the breath of the Spirit, you will understand why He continually calls return. Return not to ritual but to a heart that trembles again before His presence. My child, your safety is not found in escaping every challenge but in walking through the challenge with the Almighty. Throughout sacred history, no one called by Him was shielded from difficulties. Moses faced the sea. Joshua stood before fortified walls. David confronted an enemy towering like a mountain. Elijah stood against a collapsing culture. Isaiah spoke truth in a time when truth was twisted. But each remained standing not because they were strong, but because they knew the One in whom they trusted. Yet my child, facing trials is not as dangerous as losing spiritual alertness. A distracted spirit is more perilous than any visible enemy. A heart pulled away from true worship is more threatening than a spear pointed at your flesh. For when the inner life dims, you no longer recognize the footsteps of the One who walks beside you. When the soul grows cold, you can no longer distinguish between what is right and what merely appears right. And it is on that thin boundary where tragedy begins, not as sudden collapse but as quiet fractures, not as thunder but as a faint crack spreading through silence. Therefore, the word spoken over you today is not discouragement but restoration. It does not stir fear but awakening. It does not provoke anxiety but wisdom. The Creator never warns without providing a path of escape. He never exposes danger without offering deliverance. What He seeks from you is not perfection but response, not how strong you can be, but whether you will place your entire being into His hands. Remember, the same light that leads can also reveal what remains unfinished. You are invited into the light not only to see the path ahead, but to see your own heart. When you allow that light to shine into your soul, what was hidden will come into view, not to condemn you, but to heal you, not to shame you, but to free you. For truly, as ancient words declare, He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. But a wound can only be bound when you bring it before Him. Thus, the Holy One invites you back to the place of early devotion, the place where you longed for His presence, above all else, where no one had to urge you to pray, where you trembled when He spoke to your spirit. Not because He desires you to return to the past, but because He wants you to remember the roots, the essence, the fire that once ignited you. What you face right now is not collapse, it is a summons, not a sign of failure, but the beginning of personal revival if you open your heart. Prepare your mind, for you are standing at the threshold of a new chapter, not a chapter of fear, but a chapter of transformation. Not a chapter of despair, but a chapter of resurrected strength. Yet to step into this chapter, you must allow the Most High to guide every breath, every decision, every step. You must learn to silence the noise that seeks to occupy your mind and leave only the resonance of the heavenly voice. A soul that knows how to listen is never defeated, for the ear that hears, His word will always find its path, even in the darkest night. O soul advancing into the realm of holy radiance, open your heart to receive what is being unveiled for you. Now stand at the boundary where the unseen movements of the divine realm prepare to reshape the course of your entire journey. The awakening spoken in the previous passage was not meant to end in mere awareness, but to lead you further into deeper understanding of why this season is so critical. Many imagine that great crises come only through obvious disasters, sudden calamities, or abrupt disruptions. But in the reality seen by the Most High, decisive fractures often begin within, through subtle shifts of the spirit, distortions of desire, or slight deviations from a path that was once precisely aligned. That is why He wants you to understand this first. The spiritual journey is not only about bold steps forward, but about the meticulous guarding of each thought, each feeling, each seemingly small choice. My child, the sacred life within you is like a flame that must be tended, not a dramatic flame bursting before others, but the steady glow in the inner chamber that keeps your spirit from falling into darkness. That flame has burned brightly in seasons when you were dry but cried out sincerely. It has surged in moments of despair when you clung to the Creator instead of giving up. It has lit even the most shadowed chapters. But every flame has an enemy, and the most dangerous enemy does not always come as a harsh wind, but sometimes as gentle comforts, subtle conveniences, and reasonable excuses that pull your attention away. In these moments, what the Holy One seeks is not your desperate striving, but a heart that recognizes misalignment at its earliest whisper. You are invited to learn the early signals of drifting, when prayer loses its grip, when longing becomes stagnant, when His voice seems faint, not because He is silent, but because your heart is covered by busyness, fleeting delights, or unnecessary worries. An ancient parable speaks of seeds falling among thorns and the thorns growing to choke them. Prepare your mind, for you are standing at the threshold of a new chapter, not a chapter of fear, but a chapter of transformation, not a chapter of despair, but a chapter of resurrected strength. Yet to step into this chapter, you must allow the Most High to guide every breath, every decision, every step. You must learn to silence the noise that seeks to occupy your mind and leave only the resonance of the heavenly voice. He is not the one who stands at a distance observing your faults. He is the one who steps down, touches the earth, and stands beside you in your most wavering spiritual moments. Just as Jesus walked among the weary, the broken, and the cast aside, saying, "He came not to condemn but to save," so today, His voice to you carries the same nature: mercy, support, renewal. Yet this mercy does not ignore truth. The truth is, you are being warned because something is beginning to form that seeks to interrupt the divine flow in your life. It does not come to destroy you instantly, but to dull your sensitivity and slowly construct an invisible distance between you and the one who dwells above. That distance is not measured by time, but by your ability to still hear His voice. Many fall into this distance without noticing because everything outward remains normal. They work, they speak, they seem fine. But inwardly, the current of life starts to slow, and you are warned so this does not happen to you. O one who is called in this season, your discernment must grow sharper than ever. Not discernment by speculation, but discernment by sensitivity to the Spirit. Some things appear good, but do not come from His plan. Some invitations seem full of potential, but do not come from doors He has opened. Some people enter your life with sincerity on their faces, but darkness in their direction. And some thoughts seem harmless, but were not sown by the Creator. You must learn to look beyond the surface, to see with spiritual sight, not mere natural observation. You must sense the rhythm of heaven in each step. When something comes from Him, it carries the resonance of deep peace, not peace tied to circumstances, but peace that stands firm even in the whirlwinds of life. In contrast, the things not from Him often carry confusion, even if their exterior shines. The awakening spoken in the previous passage was not meant to end in mere awareness, but to lead you further into deeper understanding of why this season is so critical. Many imagine that great crises come only through obvious disasters, sudden calamities, or abrupt disruptions. But in the reality seen by the Most High, decisive fractures often begin within, through subtle shifts of the spirit, distortions of desire, or slight deviations from a path that was once precisely aligned. But these gains must be protected, for the enemy never attacks what is dead, he attacks what is growing. He does not chase barren souls, but watches those who carry potential. And because you carry a piece of heaven's assignment, the spiritual resistance you feel in this season is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of significance. My child, look at the journey of those who came before you, and see that no one stepped into fullness without first facing a battle of the Spirit. Joseph did not step into his role without walking through pits and prisons. David did not become the chosen leader without years in the wilderness facing pursuit and inner doubt. Esther did not save her people without confronting the fear that a single decision could cost her life. Each had one thing in common: they heard the divine call, and they knew when it was time to rise. And now you are the one standing at that hour. In every movement of heaven, there are moments that come only once, moments that shape the years ahead. Such moments are not always radiant. Sometimes they appear when you are most weary, when you feel unprepared, when you long to delay, when you desire just a little more rest. Yet it is precisely these moments that form the threshold of transformation. My child, understand that His warning to you is not meant to create anxiety, but to help you see the larger landscape. You were not created to live in apathy. You were not called merely to survive. You were summoned to cultivate, to advance, to carry light into the places of darkness. But light shines only when it is guarded, and thus His words now form the protective boundary that keeps you from being pulled off course by things that appear small, yet can bend your entire direction. Engrave this truth upon your heart: living in spiritual alertness is not the same as living in fear. It is living in wisdom. That wisdom is not merely knowledge, but the ability to discern what belongs to him and what does not. The ability to turn back the moment your spirit senses a drift from the rhythm of heaven. The ability to listen amidst the sea of noises. The ability to choose what is right, even when what is almost right seems easier. And so, O chosen soul, prepare to step even further. For what comes next does not speak only of warning but of response. Not only of danger but of the glory drawing near. Not only of the subtle drift you must avoid, but of the path leading to the sacred ascension the Most High designed for you from the beginning. O soul, entering the deeper realm of revelation, prepare to receive the remaining portion of the divine word, for this first movement, for what is opening before you, is not merely meant to awaken, but to reposition you upon the heavenly map. In the two passages before, a holy awakening was planted like a seed needed to stir the parts of you that have grown quiet. But now what the Most High desires to give you is illumination, how to walk through this critical season, so that you not only avoid invisible misalignment, but step fully into the depth He predestined for you. Every warning from heaven carries two faces, one that reveals what must be avoided, and one that opens the door to what must be received. A warning never travels alone. It is always the first half of a larger invitation. Just as a watchman lights a torch to warn the city of danger, yet also guides its people toward refuge, so the Creator works the same way. He not only shows you what threatens the soul, but also reveals the path that makes you stronger, brighter, deeper. You are being invited into a sacred realm that not everyone can enter. This is not the realm of noise, nor the realm of outward activity. It is the realm where your spirit stands face to face with the unshakable presence of the Eternal One. In that place, all disguises fall off. In that place, every motive is tested. In that place, even your deepest thoughts are illuminated, not to make you tremble in fear, but to reshape you, not to weaken you, but to strengthen you so deeply that darkness cannot reclaim the parts it once occupied. My child, the key to this season is returning. Not returning to a moment in time, but returning to a posture of the heart. This return is not completed in an instant. It is a journey of will and awareness. It begins with small choices, pausing to breathe in, His presence laying down what weighs the spirit, turning away from voices that do not bring life. This return is like a wanderer rediscovering the path back to water after traveling too far into barren land. It brings you again to the source from which your inner strength is nourished. The Most High has always awaited the moment you realize that what He gives never comes through pressure, but through invitation, not through force, but through drawing, not through compulsion, but through revelation. When He calls you back to the secret place, it is not a heavy demand, but a gentle beckoning. Come back to where your soul can breathe again. For if the world outside is a burning desert, then the secret place is the shade of a great rock. If the world outside is chaos, then that hidden place is where the soul regains its rhythm of peace. Do not think, my child, that this return is a backward step. In the reality of heaven, stepping back into His presence is the greatest advance of spiritual life. Those who stepped into His glory were not the ones chasing outward brightness, but those who hid beneath the shadow of the Most High. Moses heard His voice in the burning bush, not in the bustling city. Elijah heard Him in the gentle whisper, not in the storm. And even the living way Himself withdrew from the crowd to pray in solitude. These examples are not rituals to imitate, but revelations that the deepest transformations always occur in the secret place, where only you and the Holy One remain. O called soul, in this season you will need more than knowledge. You will need stillness. For stillness is not passivity, it is preparation. When a warrior sharpens his sword, he does not shout. When an archer draws his bowstring, there is no noise. When a potter shapes the clay, there is no commotion. That quiet preparation is what produces victory. Likewise, when the Almighty prepares you for a new chapter, He first leads you into inner quiet, not external quiet, but quiet of the soul. For within is where the real battles take place. There the conflict is not between you and another person, but between light and darkness, truth and deception, hope and doubt. And in this hidden battlefield, the strategy of darkness is always the same: to make you lose focus. For when you lose focus, you lose direction. When you lose direction, you are easily led onto a path that was never meant for you. But once you learn to let your heart stand still before the Eternal One, all other voices grow small. Once His presence becomes the center, you realize that false invitations lose their allure. Once His light shines into your soul, the things that once shook you lose their power. For in that light, everything true becomes clear, and everything false reveals its nature. My child, the return to which He calls you also involves laying down relationships, thoughts, and goals that no longer align with your path. This is not easy, for the heart often clings to what is familiar. But what is familiar is not always what is best. There are people who walk beside you only for a short season, and when that season ends, you cannot hold them back simply because memories exist. There are thoughts that once helped you stand, but now hinder your progress. There are dreams that were right for a previous season, but are no longer fitting for the one ahead. What He desires is that you release what has fulfilled its purpose, so your hands can receive what is now being given. Just as a farmer never stores unripe grain but harvests only in its proper season, just as a vine dresser prunes branches that no longer bear fruit so the vine may thrive, so must you learn to let go of what weighs the soul, not because it is evil, but because it no longer carries life. O chosen soul, understand that this preparation is not simply to protect you from an approaching obstacle, but to usher you into the maturity He has ordained. You were not created to dwell at the threshold. You were created to enter your promised land, the land of depth, the land of heavenly understanding, the land where power flows, not from human effort but from the Spirit working within you. O soul advancing into the deeper portion of this sacred journey, open your heart slowly and deeply to receive what the Eternal One is preparing to place within you in this season. If part I was the trumpet of awakening, the first flash of lightning, piercing the thin veil of fog to reveal hidden driftings, then part two is the warm breath of guidance, where He leads you into understanding of yourself, of your spiritual roots, and of the weight of the calling you carry. Every heavenly warning has a purpose aimed toward inner maturity. No divine caution is given merely to frighten or unsettle you. On the contrary, every awakening is a gentle knock on the door of the soul, inviting you into deeper wisdom, sharper, purer, richer. And in this stage, you will begin learning to see yourself through the lens of the One who created you, not through fear, not through limitation, but through the light of eternal purpose. First, you must understand that some things can only be revealed in silence. The most important words are never spoken amid noise. The visions He plants within you, the ones that make you feel called into a wider, deeper space, cannot be received amid scattered thoughts. That is why when He draws you back into the secret place, it is not withdrawal from the world, but withdrawal from the echoes that do not belong to Him. Sanctification is not an external adornment. It is an inner process where all that is impure is separated from the core of the soul. This process frightens many because it exposes what must change. But sanctification never begins with accusation. It always begins with the gentle light of truth. That light does not make you run, it makes you remain. It does not make you shrink, it makes you open. And when that light touches the corners you have long kept closed, it is then that He begins to reweave your nature into the image He intended from the beginning. Many have reached dazzling spiritual heights, yet lost their depth because they resisted His sanctifying work within. They sought power but avoided refining. They wanted signs but resisted the inner process. But no power can stand without the purified foundation of the heart. And so, my child, the Holy One is leading you through this process, not to exhaust you, but to build you on solid rock where no wind can shake you and no storm can bring you down. Consider those in sacred history, those used most mightily were taken through the longest refining. Joseph received the dream in youth, but only after years of testing did it fully unfold. Moses was destined to deliver his people, but before he held the staff of authority, he spent years in the wilderness learning humility. David was anointed early, but became a true leader only after seasons of pursuit and loneliness. These stories are not meant to dramatize hardship, but to reveal that deep preparation always precedes great unveiling. The Holy One does not want you to hear and forget. He desires His words to seep into the fibers of your spirit, becoming your breath, becoming the new rhythm of your soul. For if you are not formed within, you cannot carry what awaits. Heavenly purpose is never grounded in outward capability, but always in inner depth. He does not seek those who are strong in action alone, but those whose hearts are soft enough to listen and resilient enough to obey. O chosen one, you must now learn one of the most important truths. Obedience is not merely doing what He says it is, keeping your spirit in a posture ready to hear. A spirit that listens is a spirit that lives. For spiritual life does not come from instinct, but from response. And response only arises when you hear His voice clearly above all other echoes. This is why He draws you into stillness, so you can discern the true tone of His command. In such seasons you will feel as though you are standing between two worlds, one filled with familiar rhythms of daily life, and the other pulling you gently from the heavenly realm, inviting you deeper and farther. Many have chosen to retreat at this point because they fear the change that the light brings. But you are called to do the opposite, to walk into the light, even when you do not know what lies ahead. Here lies the mystery. The light does not require you to know everything. It requires you to trust. Trust that what He does is never meaningless. Trust that every refining has its reward. Trust that every loss makes room for greater blessing. Trust that you never walk alone through long nights, for the Eternal One goes before you, clearing the path, preparing the way. In this season, He is not only renewing your soul, He is constructing within you a steadfast heart, a heart no lie can corrode, a heart no circumstance can bend, a heart no darkness can subdue. Such a heart is not formed in ease, but in moments when you choose Him above all else, even when your own heart trembles. The Eternal One never calls without empowering. He never commands without granting strength. If He calls you to holiness, He will grant you the power to break free from bondage. If He calls you to awaken, He will give you light to see the path. If He calls you to grow, He will provide the environment for your development. What He seeks is willingness, nothing more, nothing less. The sincere willingness of the heart. O soul, being led deeper into the inner journey, keep your heart soft and alert. For in this chapter the Everlasting One will reveal to you a reality few in the spiritual life have truly touched, the reality of total surrender. Not surrender as weakness, but surrender as awakening. Not giving up, but opening up. Not defeat, but alignment with heavenly power. It is the conscious release that allows Him to work through you in purity, free from personal agenda. Surrender is one of heaven's greatest mysteries. Many follow Him with dedication, yet still keep hidden chambers where they do not allow Him to enter. They pray with their lips, yet hold tightly to their own plans. They sing of trust, yet only trust to the extent it fits their desires. They seek guidance, yet hesitate when guidance contradicts expectation. This is not because they are wicked, but because they have not yet understood the essence of surrender, an essence the Most High intends to teach you in this season. True surrender begins when you understand that everything He asks of you is for your life never to strip you, but to give. He never calls you to release anything without preparing something better in its place. You think you are losing, but in truth you are being brought into wholeness. You think He is taking something away, but in truth He is freeing you from what could bind you. It is only because you cannot yet see the full picture that the process confuses you. But the Creator sees the entire panorama from your formation to your fulfillment, so surrender is simply the act of placing yourself into the hands of the One who knows all things. My child, there are things He cannot reveal unless you surrender. Not because He is unwilling, but because your heart is not yet open enough to receive. Revelation cannot flow into a vessel still full. New grace cannot be poured into a space that has not been cleared. This is why the deepest things often do not come from desperate pleading, but from quiet yielding. When you lay down what you long to hold, you open space for Him to place what He desires to give. And my child, in this phase, He will touch areas you believe you have already released but have not. Perhaps a dream you have nurtured for years. Perhaps a relationship that once brought comfort. Perhaps an expectation that seemed reasonable. He does not touch these things to wound you, but to remove what no longer fits the direction of your future. Like a goldsmith who uses fire to refine, He uses sacred stillness to sift your heart from invisible impurities. You must understand that surrender never occurs in moments of frenzy. It happens in the quiet of unseen mornings, in the long nights, when tears soak the pillow, in the moments when you stand at a crossroads, yet choose to wait for His voice. Surrender is not loud, not dramatic, not performative. It is the most silent and yet most powerful decision a soul can make. My child, in this season, He will teach you to distinguish between desire and calling. Desire arises from the movement of emotion. Calling arises from the depth of the soul. Desire shifts with circumstances. Calling never changes. Desire seeks quick results. Calling seeks endurance. One reason many lose their way is because they pursue their desires, believing them to be their calling. They choose what is familiar instead of what is right, what is easy instead of what is necessary. But you are set apart to follow the inner voice, the voice that never deceives, the voice woven into your purpose before time began. O chosen one, there is another truth. He wants you to understand. Surrender always comes with freedom. The world teaches that letting go is loss, but heaven teaches that letting go is liberation. When you hold on tightly out of fear, it may slip away, that very thing becomes bondage. But when you place it in His hands, it loses its power over you. And the miracle is this: what belongs to you will never leave you, and what does not belong will fade on its own without struggle, without resistance. You will see this: the more you surrender, the lighter you become. The lighter you become, the higher you rise. The higher you rise, the clearer the purpose becomes. Those who cling to everything are the ones who suffer most, for they turn themselves into guardians of what was never meant for them. But those who surrender truly are the ones who rest deeply, for they know the guiding hand of the Eternal One never trembles. In this process, you will learn another profound truth. Trust is not waiting for Him to change your circumstances, but yielding to Him as He changes you. Circumstances can shift in a moment, but if you are not transformed within, you will repeat old patterns on a new path. He desires to work deeper, not only opening the way before your feet, but opening the chambers of your mind, not only breaking external barriers, but removing internal walls, not only shifting what you do, but transforming how you see, believe, and live. My child, surrender also means allowing Him to teach you how to walk in the rhythm of heaven. This rhythm is neither hurried nor stagnant. It does not move with the panic of the world, nor halt out of doubt. It is like a river flowing strong yet gentle, steady, yet light, enduring yet flexible. When you align with this rhythm, your steps become firm and nothing can push you off course. And here lies the most important truth of this passage. Surrender never leads you into darkness. It leads you into higher light. Not a blinding light that terrifies, but a gentle light that illuminates paths you never knew existed. When you surrender, your eyes open to what was once hidden. Your ears open to what was once drowned out. Your heart opens to what once had no room to enter. O soul standing at the threshold of inner transformation, listen closely now, for this is the moment when the Creator moves you from surrender into union with His will. Everything you have learned in the previous sections about returning, about clearing the heart, about releasing what no longer belongs now, becomes the foundation for something deeper, the alignment of your spirit with the voice of heaven itself. My child, there is something very few truly understand. Surrender is the beginning, but unity is the destination. Many stop at the act of letting go, yet never move into the realm of flowing with the rhythm of the heavenly. They learn how to release, but not how to open themselves to receive the new. They understand that control must be laid down, but they have not yet learned how to walk in His close and continual guidance. But you are called to go further into the place where your will dissolves into His will, where your desires blend with His desires, where the beat of your heart moves in harmony with the pulse of the divine breath. This unity does not erase your identity. It unveils the truest essence He placed within you from the beginning. You are not swallowed, you are completed. You do not lose individuality, you become whole in a deeper way. When you enter unity, you begin to feel what He feels, see as He sees, and think along the pathways of His wisdom. This is what empowered those chosen throughout the ages. They did not merely obey His commands, they walked in harmony with His heart. My child, understand that there is a difference between knowing His will and living in His will. Knowing His will comforts you. Living in His will transforms you completely. When you know His will, you find direction. But when you live in His will, you become the person He designed you to be. This gap cannot be bridged by logic, but only by inner softness. It does not come from rigid determination, but from a heart trained to be sensitive to the Spirit. Unity is not a sudden explosion. It is a series of continuous choices. It is the early morning moments when you open your heart simply to hear His whisper in the stillness. It is the moment during the day when you pause for a few seconds and ask, "Does this carry the breath of heaven?" It is the final minutes of the night when you surrender everything unfinished back into peace. Unity is the continual movement of the soul toward its source of life. My child, when you step deeper into unity, the first thing that changes is how you see the world. What once worried you loses its power. What once consumed your attention becomes small. What once shook you loses its grip entirely. His light does not only shine upon your path, it shines inside your spirit, making you stronger, gentler, wiser. As that light shines deeper, you begin to see what fear or haste once concealed. And then you will realize something wondrous. When your heart merges with His will, obedience no longer feels like a burden, it becomes a joy. Some obey reluctantly out of fear, some obey hoping for reward, but the one who walks in unity obeys as naturally as breathing, as effortlessly as the heartbeat. Their inner nature has changed so deeply that obedience is no longer an action, it becomes identity. The second wonder of unity is that you become sensitive to even the smallest movements of the Spirit. A whisper becomes enough to guide you. A gentle impression becomes sufficient to direct your step. A faint stirring within becomes strong enough to shift your course. And it is this sensitivity that sets you apart, not for pride, but to make you a sharp instrument in His hand. My child, unity also brings another reality, the reality of inner ease. When your heart is aligned with His will, the internal struggle disappears. Your spiritual terrain no longer splits into two directions, one wanting to follow him, the other insisting on your own way. When this division ends, your soul finds a rest the world cannot provide. What once exhausted you, the tension between what I should do and what I want to do, begins to fade, because what you want becomes what is right. And the third gift of unity is power. Not the power of noise, but the power of stability. Not loudness, but depth. Not the power that draws attention, but the power born from alignment between your heart and the will of the Almighty. When this unity reaches its necessary depth, your words carry weight, your steps carry certainty, your presence carries peace. My child, remember that every great victory begins in unity with Him. Not victory through strength nor through skill, but through deep connection with the source of power. When David conquered the giant, it was not his stone-throwing skill that won the battle. It was his unity with the one who protected him in the wilderness. When the woman broke the alabaster jar, what made her act unforgettable was not the cost of the perfume, but the unity between her heart and the desire of the Master. When Peter was restored after failure, he stepped into deeper unity with the risen Lord, and that unity transformed him into a man of influence. My child, this is what the Eternal One wants you to understand. Unity is not a goal. It is the foundation for what comes next. For what He is preparing for you cannot be carried by weak hands nor held by a divided heart. You will need a foundation so firm that no shaking of this world can bend you, no voice of darkness can blur you, and no trial can pull you away from your heavenly path. O soul, entering the critical phase of transformation, open your heart to receive what is revealed in this section. For from here the journey shifts from awakening and surrender into a new dimension, the dimension of reformation of time, nature. If part 1 was the awakening and part 2, the purification and unity, then part 3 is where you touch the deepest process reserved for those He chooses. The process where your inner being is reshaped according to His image, His breath, and His rhythm. My child, understand that true transformation does not occur when your external circumstances change, but when your internal nature is renewed. Many try to change environments, habits, paths, or people, yet still cannot find the freedom their soul longs for. Because freedom does not come from where you stand, but from who you are becoming. If the inner life is unchanged, a new road will still lead to old outcomes. If the spirit is not renewed, old wounds will cling to the new season. If nature is not reshaped, every effort will repeat the same cycle that once exhausted them. Therefore, in this season, the Most High begins to touch the deepest part of you, the place where desires form, where unnamed wounds reside, where hidden motives rest, where unspoken beliefs shape every choice. This is where His word does more than touch thought. It touches essence. More than direct your path, it reshapes your manner of living. More than guide, it redefines. My child, the transformation of your very nature is not a pleasant process. It is the journey in which the soul must face itself, not to condemn, but to recognize what must be released, what must be guarded, what must be healed, and what must be restored. The Creator does not carry out this work in haste. He works with the gentleness of a physician, resetting fractured bones, with the patience of a potter, shaping softened clay, and with the precision of a silversmith refining raw metal. And my child, you must understand, He never begins this process unless He is certain you have reached the moment when you can bear His shaping. He never unveils too much light before you are ready, for too much light at the wrong time can make you shrink back in fear. But just as the vine dresser knows the exact moment to prune so the vine may bear more fruit, the Eternal One knows precisely when to touch each part of you, and this right now is that moment. In this stage, you will begin to realize that some of the things you once assumed were your true identity were merely reactions to old wounds. Some things you believed were your personality were actually protective layers you wore in difficult seasons. Some traits you thought were your nature were really adaptations for survival. And because you believed those things were you, you are surprised when he touches them. Yet the truth remains, you were never meant to live by wounds, by fear, or by reaction. You were meant to live by the essence he breathed into you, the essence of steadiness, purity, peace, and strength. My child, understand that the transformation of nature does not take place on the surface. It unfolds in the deepest place where you choose to live according to truth, even when your heart still trembles, where you choose to walk toward the light, even when your feelings lag behind, where you choose silence so you may hear his voice above the voice of fear, where you choose forgiveness even while the hurt beneath has not fully healed. It is in these moments that regeneration truly begins. The Eternal One desires to lead you into a state where your life is no longer governed by shifting emotions, but anchored in the firmness of truth. You will notice yourself reacting less impulsively, being less swayed by circumstances, and less shaken by the opinions of others. You will sense a new stability rising within you, not loud or dramatic, but strong like the deep roots of a great tree that remain unshaken no matter how the storm bends its branches. This transformation also reveals that his purpose is not merely to bring you through trials, but to use the trials as tools to shape you. There will be seasons when you feel stretched, when the boundaries of your comfort zone are erased, not to exhaust you, but to expand your inner capacity. For you cannot step into a higher place with your old measure. You cannot carry a new mantle with an old heart. You cannot receive new revelation with old patterns of thought. My child, the transformation of nature also includes the restoration of the parts of you that were once wounded. There are cracks that have been in place for many years, quietly limiting you without your awareness. There are old experiences that left marks which weakened your ability to trust, to open your heart, or to obey wholeheartedly. In this season, he will touch the places you forgot or deliberately avoided, not to reopen pain, but to remove its power. He does not uncover wounds to hurt you, but to heal you completely. As he works, you will discover that the deepest healing does not come from forgetting, but from bringing everything into the light. Not the light of judgment, but the light of restoration. And when that light rests upon you, every shadow loses its authority. My child, here is the great secret of true transformation. Every part of you he touches, he does not merely heal, he assigns purpose to it. Yet the truth remains, you were never meant to live by wounds, by fear, or by reaction. You were meant to live by the essence he breathed into you, the essence of steadiness, purity, peace, and strength. My child, understand that the transformation of nature does not take place on the surface. If the previous section revealed the way he touches your core, then this is the part where he begins rebuilding you from within, not with fragments of your past, but with the new substance of truth and life. This is no longer merely the stage in which you confront yourself, but the stage in which you are shaped according to the rhythm of the heavenly, like an instrument being finely tuned so that every tone aligns with the melody of eternity. My child, when the Eternal One begins reconstructing the inner nature, he does not build hastily like one rushing to complete a project, but like an artisan, patiently refining each detail. He does not add anything unnecessary nor leave anything that does not belong. He removes each outdated part to place the new one at the appointed time, not to turn you into someone else, but to make you the very version he envisioned when he conceived the universe. That is the true essence, untainted by fear, unbound by old wounds, unshaped by circumstance. My child, it is within this rebuilding process that you will begin to sense a shift taking place inside you. Not a loud shift, but a quiet one, like an underground stream, changing direction beneath the soil, yet bringing life to the entire field above it. You will notice that things which once triggered quick reactions no longer carry the same force. Words that once shook you now pass over you without collapsing your heart. Temptations that once held power lose their charm, not because they have changed, but because your inner nature has become different. This is the unmistakable sign of true transformation, when what is outside no longer has the power to shape what is inside. My child, in this process, he will teach you to distinguish between temporary emotion and the voice of truth. Emotions can be strong, but they are unstable. Truth is gentle, yet it never shifts. There were things you once believed were promptings, but they were merely anxieties or impatience. There were things you thought were warnings, but they were only echoes of old memories. This is why, as he rebuilds your nature, he also reconstructs your inner discernment, so you no longer confuse feelings with truth. One of the first things he restores in you is the way you see yourself. For years, perhaps you viewed yourself through the lens of failure, through the words of others, or through experiences that left your spirit wounded, but he has never looked at you that way. He does not see you through mistakes, but through purpose. Not through moments of weakness, but through the journey he intended. Not through your stumbles, but through the potential he breathed into you from the beginning. When he begins renewing your nature, he also transforms the way you evaluate yourself. You will no longer assess yourself by what your eyes can see, but by what he has spoken. You will no longer belittle yourself for your shortcomings, but understand that each shortcoming is an opening for his light to pour in. You will no longer compare yourself to others, but recognize that every person has a unique path, and yours was designed with divine intentionality. My child, when you begin to see yourself through the Creator's light, the invisible chains that held you will naturally fall away. Feelings of unworthiness will fade, not because you suppress them, but because he places a new understanding within you. You were created with purpose, appointed to carry life, and nurtured to become a source of blessing. When this truth takes hold in your heart, transformation reaches its deepest point. Next, he will recreate your inner motivations. Do you know this? It is not your actions that define your nature, but the motivations behind them. Some do the right thing with the wrong motives, and therefore nothing lasts. Some work hard, but from a place of fear, so the more they do, the more exhausted they become. Some sacrifices yet carry bitterness in their hearts, so they never feel free. But when your motivations are renewed, your actions become light. When motivations are transformed, service becomes joy. When motives are sanctified, you no longer have to force yourself to do what is right. You do it naturally because your inner nature has changed. That which you once did through effort, you will now do through breath. That which you once struggled to do, you will do with ease. That which once drained, you will become a fountain of life. O restored soul, another sign of renewed nature is inner stability. This is not rigidity, but steadfastness. Not stubbornness, but depth. A renewed heart does not tremble when others shift in attitude. It does not crumble when circumstances turn unexpectedly. It does not rebel when the path becomes difficult. It stands firm not by its own strength, but by new roots planted in his truth. And then he will bring you into a deeper step, rest within the very transformation you are experiencing. Many, when transformed, try to cling to the transformation, fearing they will lose it. But true transformation is not something you must hold on to, it is something you live. When the inner nature is renewed, rest arises naturally, not laziness, but stability, not passivity, but trust. You no longer monitor yourself anxiously, for what he builds cannot be easily torn down. My child, when transformation reaches this level, you will begin to see what he intended from the beginning. You will become someone whose very presence brings healing, comfort, and light to others. No many words needed, no self-proving, no display. Your inner steadiness itself becomes the loudest declaration of what he is doing in your life. O soul standing in the center of sacred transformation. When your inner nature has been renewed, the next challenge is not to change further, but to let that change flow through every breath, every action, every small choice. Many have experienced moments of awakening, felt the touch of new life, sensed themselves becoming someone new, yet they lost that transformation because they did not know how to carry it into daily living. They kept the renewal in a secret place but allowed the world to steal it as soon as they stepped outside. They held on to peace in prayer but let anxiety reclaim it in their work. They received revelation in stillness but let noise drown it once the day began. My child, true renewal is not given so you may feel transformed for a single moment. It is given so you may live transformed in every moment. This is why the Creator is leading you into this part, so you may know how to live as one who has been changed, not merely experience change. Understand this: a renewed nature must be protected, nourished, and developed. As a newly sprouted seed needs light and water to grow, the new nature within you needs room to mature. And that room is created by the conscious choices you make each day, choices you may never have considered important before. My child, the first thing you need in order to walk in renewal is divine consistency. Consistency is not rigidity, but stability in spiritual direction, like a compass that never turns away from the true north. A consistent soul does not rotate with emotion, does not sway with circumstance, does not shift according to the attitudes of others. It remains aligned with the light no matter how the weather of life changes. Such consistency does not come from the force of your will, but from continuous union with the one who transformed you. When your heart stays near him, consistency becomes breath, not burden. When his presence covers your thoughts, consistency becomes a natural response, not a strained effort. This is the lifestyle of those who have been truly renewed. Next, my child, for renewal to become established, you must learn to protect your inner atmosphere. New nature cannot grow in an old climate. Negative thoughts, harsh words, unnecessary worries, and prolonged distractions, these can weaken the nature recently formed. Just as a gardener removes weeds to protect a young plant, you must remove the sources that drain your spirit. Not every word deserves your attention. Not every conversation gives life. Not every relationship supports your spiritual journey. The Eternal One wants you to understand guarding your inner atmosphere is not selfishness but wisdom. When you keep your heart free from what contaminates, you create a place where your new nature can grow without hindrance. My child, another step in living as one transformed is learning to operate in unshakable peace. Peace is not the absence of problems. Peace is his presence within your problems. A transformed person is not one who no longer faces trials, but one who walks through them without surrendering inner rest. Peace is not a feeling, it is a foundation. It is the ground from which your decisions flow. It is the shield that protects your mind. It is the cool stream that refreshes your soul on scorching days. When peace becomes your nature, you will find you no longer react impulsively, you respond from stability. You will no longer panic at troubling news, you will stand firm in trust. You will no longer be ruled by fear, you will be guided by clarity. This is a powerful sign that the new nature has taken root. My child, when the Most High renews your nature, he also places within you a new current of discernment. Your soul will become sharper toward anything not aligned with truth. Lies will no longer enter your mind easily. The bait of compromise will lose its charm. Deceptive voices will reveal their true nature within moments. This does not come from your ability, but from the light he places inside you. That light does not only illuminate the path, it exposes everything that tries to hide. In this phase, you will learn to walk with divine confidence, not confidence in yourself, but in the truth he has sown in you. One who is renewed does not speak doubtfully, but with assurance. They do not walk by feeling, but by vision. They do not live by reaction, but by direction. And even in the dark, they know exactly where they are going because the light within them is stronger than the darkness around them. O soul appointed to grow, the final expression of transformation in Part 3 is the harmony between your new nature and your daily actions. This is the moment when you are not only renewed in spirit, but renewed in the way you live, the way you love, the way you forgive, the way you serve, the way you think, and the way you face challenges. Your new nature must become your living language. When others look at you, they will not only see a temporary change, but a life built upon undeniable transformation. Transformation expressed through small, consistent acts. And when you enter this stage, you will realize something beautiful. You are not transformed to become different. You are transformed to become whole. Not whole according to the world's standards, but according to the one who designed every day of your life. O soul who has journeyed through the depths of awakening, surrender and renewal, you are now stepping into another crucial passage, a passage where everything he has rebuilt inside you begins to connect with the reason you were born in this time of history, the reason your battles have been so fierce, and the reason the voice of heaven has called you with such urgency. If the earlier parts were like the hidden work beneath the earth where roots were stretched deep and foundations reinforced, then Part 4 is when the Eternal One begins to show you the architecture he has been building upon that foundation, not only for you but for those whose destinies are tied to your life, those who will be affected by how you choose to respond or how you hesitate in this decisive hour. My child, you must understand, no life touched by his hand is without spiritual responsibility. He does not pull you out of darkness merely so you can stand safely on cleared ground. He does not heal deep wounds merely so you can feel relief. He does not renew your nature merely so you can enjoy the sensation of transformation. All these things carry a deeper purpose. You are being prepared to become a conduit, an instrument, a point of divine contact between the heavenly realm and a world full of broken souls. What he does within you is never meant to stop with you. It is designed to flow through you to reach those who have no idea where to find direction, what to hold on to, or how to remain standing in the storm. This is why the battles around you have been intense. Not only your future is at stake, but the lives intertwined with your path. O chosen one, you once thought the greatest tragedy was loss on the outside, lost opportunities, lost possessions, lost connections, lost relationships you once cherished. But I tell you, the greatest tragedy is not what slips from your hands, but what slips from your heart. The greatest danger is losing the divine calling, the imprint of heaven upon your life, the path he sketched for you, so you could walk in partnership with him. A closed material door has never been the end, but a heart growing numb to his voice is a dangerous turning. I speak this not to alarm you, but to help you recognize the weight of the moment you are living in. This is not an ordinary season. It is a season of separation of decisions that shape long-term direction of the dividing line between living a temporary life and living a life aligned with eternal intent. My child, look back over everything that has happened to you in these past years, the times you felt you were about to drown, the moments when darkness seemed to cover everything, the nights when you had no idea what tomorrow would hold, the first relationships that shattered, the doors that slammed shut, the wounds no one understood. You thought these were isolated events, but from my vantage point, they were pieces of a carefully arranged mosaic. Every crack in the story of your life became an opening through which my light could enter. Every time you collapsed and then lifted your eyes again became a thread that drew your heart closer to mine. Every disappointment, if you choose to see through, my eyes has been deepening your capacity so that you can contain what I am preparing. Not a single tear of yours has been wasted. Not a single sigh has been ignored. I have walked beside you in every winding path, not only to keep you alive, but to help you understand you are not here merely to survive. You have been preserved to carry something no one else can carry in your place. For this reason, the adversary is investing heavily in one goal: to move you out of position, to convince you that your life does not matter, that your choices affect only yourself. If he can push you back into fear, he will weaken the strength already placed within you. If he can drown you in old guilt, he will keep you from standing up and stepping into your true place. If he can keep you endlessly busy with meaningless things, he will cause you to miss the very moments I have prepared as turning points. He does not always need to destroy you with something dramatic. He only needs to succeed in making you forget that you are called. Once you forget the call, you will live as though you have no purpose, and that is the deepest tragedy of all. My child, I have been planting signs of this calling within you for a long time through burdens others could not understand, through nights when you lay awake thinking about things far beyond your own benefit, through the ache you felt when you saw others lost and wandering, through the indescribable joy you sensed when you were able to bring comfort, encouragement, or support to someone. These are not just your personality, they are my imprint. They are flashes of a greater purpose breaking through your soul, and I have not allowed those sparks to die out, even in the seasons when you tried to bury them under the dust of disappointment or hurt. I have continued to breathe upon them, to send reminders, to use unexpected circumstances to stir you from spiritual slumber. Because if you awaken, not only are you rescued from tragedy, but many others will be touched by your obedience. My child, understand this. A single yes from a purified heart carries more weight than 1,000 human plans. When a small person chooses to step into the current of my heavenly intention, all of heaven will move in agreement with them. Doors no one can open will open. Mountains that seemed immovable will begin to tremble. Chains no one could break will fall simply because I choose to stand in the midst with that person. I do not seek the flawless, I seek the willing. I do not require you to have everything prepared before you move. I only ask that you do not turn away when I speak. Everything else, strength, wisdom, support, protection, I will add as you walk in obedience. O chosen one, you now stand at a threshold where on one side lies the path of false safety, and on the other the way of obedience leading to true meaning. The path of false safety allows you to keep everything, demands no surrender, spares you from misunderstanding, and does not ask you to pay the price of certain lonely seasons, but it will keep your capacity forever small. It will prevent your soul from stretching wide enough to hold what I desire to give. It will cause you to live beneath your calling. In contrast, the way of obedience may lead you through stretches where no one applauds, no one understands, and no one walks with you as you had hoped. Yet it is on that road that you will meet me more deeply, see me more clearly, and experience my power more tangibly than ever before. Every step there, even trembling ones, carries eternal value. I do not hide from you the cost, nor do I hide from you the glory to come. There will be days when you must choose to let go of what others call success in order to hold on to what I call faithfulness. There will be moments when you must say no to relationships that pull you out of orbit, even though your heart grieves. There will be times when you must keep silent while others misunderstand you, because I ask you to entrust your vindication to me rather than defend yourself. These things are not easy, I know. But I also know this: if you are willing to walk through them, your heart will be enlarged, your vision will be lifted, and your steps will become so steady that no wind will be able to knock you down again. My child, this part 4 is not written to place more weight on your shoulders, but to show you that everything I have done in parts 1, 2, and 3 was not simply to make you better, but to set you in your rightful place on heaven's map. You are not a faint dot in a sea of people. You are a carrier of a portion of the greater story, a link in a chain of divine plans that loses some of its beauty if you are missing. I can fulfill my purposes without anyone, yet I delight to fulfill them with those I love, and you are one of them. Therefore, O soul who has been awakened, purified, and renewed, now is the time to see your life, not as a solitary journey, but as an instrument in the hand of the One who is still writing new chapters on the earth. The next portion of this journey will no longer speak only of what is within you, but will begin to touch specific steps, practical alignments, and real situations I will use to draw you out of your comfort zone and place you precisely where you are called to stand. Keep your heart soft, your ears open, and your feet ready, for from here we will not only speak of who you are, but of where you are being sent, for whom and for what purpose. O soul, moving deeper into the awareness of your divine calling, you must now grasp a truth that very few pause long enough to consider. Calling is not only an invitation, calling is also separation. Calling not only opens the door ahead, it also clarifies what no longer belongs to you, what no longer fits your new stature, what must be laid down, so you can stand in the place I have appointed. No one is entrusted with a mission without also walking through a process of separation. Separation between what you want and what I want, between what is familiar and what truly leads to life, between what you merely like and what you were created to do. My child, as the call becomes clearer, the first thing you may feel is not excitement, but an inner misalignment with what once felt close and comfortable. Every spiritual shift begins with a gentle, yet persistent unease, a sense hard to describe that you no longer belong in the environments, connections, or patterns that once defined your life. Not because they are evil, but because you have outgrown them. Not because you are abandoning others, but because you are being called to places they were not assigned to go. This is a natural separation, like a river, that upon reaching new ground must branch in order to find the right course. The branching does not mean the river is betraying its source. It simply means it is being true to its nature. My child, it is time for you to recognize that this separation is not loss, but guidance. I am not stripping away relationships, opportunities, or old rhythms to leave you empty. I am making room for you to carry the new. No old wineskin can contain the new wine of heaven. When you insist on holding on to what I am gently removing, you will feel a strange heaviness. But when you begin to lay it down, you will immediately sense a lightness spreading across your inner being, like a deep breath released after years of constraint. My child, in this very season, you will begin to sense a stirring in your spirit, not chaos, but divine signaling. There will be people you meet only for a moment who plant questions in your heart that you cannot ignore. There will be situations that appear random but are actually signs I send to redirect your steps. There will be unexpected conversations that reveal parts of yourself you never noticed before. Each of these moments is a heavenly signal, recognizable only to those who have begun walking into their calling. My child, I also want you to understand that every calling comes with the purification of motives. This is the stage where I strip away mixed intentions, unclean expectations, and desires that do not arise from light. For if you carry old motives into a new mission, they will pull you off course when trials come. I do not want you to serve for recognition. I do not want you to stand up because you crave being seen, heard, or applauded. I do not want you to move because you fear being left behind, underestimated, or surpassed. These forces may produce temporary energy, but they will never sustain you. When the winds shift, wrong motives will drain you, discourage you, or embitter you. The refining of motives is not pleasant, for it forces you to look at hidden corners within. But my child, know this: I do not expose those corners to shame you, but to free you. When your heart is purified, your calling multiplies in strength. A pure heart amplifies the voice of heaven. A pure heart allows you to walk without hesitation. A pure heart gives weight to your words with spiritual authority, even when you yourself do not realize it. My child, the next thing you must know is that every calling pushes you into places your logic cannot fully explain. not because I wish to confuse you, but because you must learn to walk by trust and not calculation. Those who are called rarely enter through doors that look impressive. Their doors rarely shine, rarely come decorated with recognition, rarely come with full material preparation. Instead, their doors often open through unusual circumstances, a tiny opportunity that leads to a great one, a seemingly minor assignment that becomes the first step of a monumental journey, a brief encounter that ushers in profound transformation. Those who lack spiritual sensitivity will overlook these signals, but you are not one of them. You are called to notice what others do not see. You are appointed to walk paths others dismiss as insignificant. You are chosen to move against the flow of the world. I did not choose you because you were stronger. I chose you because something in you always knew this life was more than its surface, because something deep inside you sensed there is a truer, deeper, eternal reality calling you. My child, in this step you will also notice a shift in your spiritual appetite. What once attracted you will lose its pull. What once thrilled you will grow strangely dim. In contrast, the things of eternity will ignite an unusual longing within you. You will find yourself craving my presence more intensely than ever. You will choose things that build your spirit rather than drain it. You will realize you are entering a holy separation, not separation from the world in the sense of isolation, but separation from value systems that exhaust your soul. This is a clear sign of calling. Not everyone will understand this change. Not everyone will celebrate your growth. Not everyone will walk with you to the end. But my child, the loneliness of this season is not punishment. It is space for me to speak with unprecedented clarity. The noise of life must quiet so that you may hear my voice, not only in prayer, but in the rhythm of your daily living. You will be surprised to find that being alone with me is never emptiness. It is where your strength is rebuilt, piece by piece. O called one, remember that a calling never stands alone. It always comes with preparation. I never send anyone into a mission without equipping them. And in this season, the equipping will be subtle, so subtle you may not recognize it until the moment you need it. A word I plant in you today may become the guiding light in next year's trial. An experience that now seems meaningless may become the exact wisdom someone will need from you in the future. An old failure may become the foundation of new understanding. My child, standing on the border between light and shadow, between the familiar and the destined open, your spirit wide in this moment, for here I will reveal the true nature of the battle you are facing. It is not the outward struggle between you and circumstances. It is the inward struggle between calling and delay, between clarity and compromise, between courage and quiet fear. These hidden battles determine your direction, and here you will finally see why your trials have felt so deeply personal. No one is prepared for something great without first enduring a season of inner shaking. This shaking is not a sign of failure, but evidence that your soul is being drawn into deeper waters. Just as pillars destined to uphold great structures must be tested for strength, your heart is being tested to reveal what is weak and what must be reinforced. You are not being attacked because you are weak. You are being attacked because something in you threatens the darkness. A meaningless soul never experiences the intensity of warfare you are going through. O chosen one, the resistance you feel is not merely from circumstances. It is the spiritual atmosphere reacting as you approach your calling. Whenever a person steps toward their appointed ground, darkness tries to pull them back with three tactics: doubt, delay, and distraction. These arrows rarely appear in obvious forms. Doubt arrives as the quiet whisper, "Am I enough?" Delay arrives with the comfortable promise, "I'll start tomorrow." Distraction arrives, disguised as things that are not wrong yet slowly drain the life of the soul. My child, once I have called you, that call will not fall silent. It will beat against your heart like the rhythm of the sea, persistent yet gentle, making it impossible for you to live an ordinary life. It will stir you, refusing to let you remain lying down when you were born to rise. It will awaken a longing within you that nothing temporary can extinguish. And once the call touches your spirit, you will no longer feel at peace if you try to live as you once did. That discomfort is not punishment, it is a reminder you were made for more than this. My child, now, I will show you the deeper reason behind the battle you have been facing, because there is a territory assigned to you, an area of influence that only opens when you stand in your rightful place. There are souls waiting for answers that will come through your life. There are people who will find direction because you stood where you were meant to stand. There are doors that will open for others once you step through the door I have prepared for you. You are not called merely to carry light for your own life, but to carry light for the lives of others. This is why the enemy fights so fiercely. Not because it believes it can defeat you, but because it knows that if you step into your position, its walls will fall. It knows that a soul who has been renewed, sanctified, and properly positioned is the very thing darkness fears most. It knows that if you respond, the structures it has built in the lives of many will crumble simply because of your presence. It sees what you do not yet see, that one person standing rightly in heaven's design can alter the course of history. My child, why does all of this feel so deeply personal? Because the enemy never attacks vaguely. It strikes exactly where it knows you wobble. It strikes at the fears you hide. It strikes at the corners you avoid. It strikes at the wounds which, if not healed, would make you retreat into false safety. It does not need to destroy you, it only needs to keep you out of position. For someone standing in the wrong place loses voice, loses authority, loses sharpness, and loses the heavenly influence assigned to them. Yet what the enemy does not know is that I have gone before it. The inner structures I have rebuilt within you not only make you stronger, they make you impossible to manipulate the way you once were. You are no longer swayed by flattery. You are no longer driven by the need for approval. You are no longer shaken when a small door closes, because now you know that it is not the one I intend for you. I have not only healed you, I am sharpening you to the point darkness cannot even find where to strike. My child, prepare yourself, for the next stage of your calling is the stage of authority. Once you understand the call, once you grasp why you were set apart, once you recognize the territory assigned to you, spiritual authority will begin to operate through you. Authority is not loudness, domination, or outward strength. Authority is the ability to carry heaven's influence into any situation, causing anything that is not of light to retreat, simply because you are present. But authority cannot move through a distracted soul. It cannot flow through a divided heart. It cannot operate through someone holding on to too many things. This is why I had to purify you, separate you, refine you, and lead you into confronting your own heart. Not because I wanted to keep you in pain, but because I wanted you empty of all the wrong things so you could be filled with the right ones. Look up, my child, and recognize this. You are no longer in the early stages of preparation, you have entered the stage of positioning. Positioning is when I begin rearranging everything in your life. Relationships, circumstances, work, dreams, priorities, not according to what seems logical to you, but according to what is necessary for my purposes. You will see doors close that you once begged to open. You will see invitations that no longer pull your heart. You will see paths that once made sense suddenly feel lifeless. This is not failure, this is alignment. I am funneling you toward the direction I have chosen. In the depths of this positioning, you will begin to recognize a familiar pattern. Whenever I call someone into a new season, I always prepare them through unexpected shifts. Moses was taken into the wilderness. Esther was positioned in the palace. David was moved from the pasture to the battlefield. No one is placed in their purpose safely. No one steps into their calling without first being shaken. The shaking is not because you are wrong, it is because you are nearing what is right. My child, you who have passed through many layers of purification and renewal, you are stepping into an entirely different phase one darkness tried to stop at all costs. This is the phase where internal transformation begins shifting into outward reality. This is where everything I have planted in you begins to take form. This is no longer the season of quiet preparation. This is the season of emergence, not emergence into showmanship, but emergence into divine partnership. Rising always follows the deepest refining. Before the seed ever breaks the surface, it must split in the dark, be buried deep, and endure pressure from every side. But when the moment of life arrives, nothing can hold it down. Darkness cannot command the seed to stay buried. The soil cannot forbid it from reaching light. For in the seed is an invisible decree: become what I have destined you to be. That same decree is being activated in you now. I have stripped the old layers from you, false images of yourself, mixed motives, connections that slowed you, voices that misled you. These things were removed not to leave you exposed, but so I could lay a new foundation. And now that foundation is ready for you to rise as the one you were always meant to be. Rising does not begin when circumstances are favorable. Rising begins when the strength inside you surpasses the conditions around you. This season will not resemble any season you have known. There will be moments when you walk and feel as if nothing is changing, yet the spiritual atmosphere shifts with every step you take. There will be people who do not understand you, but they do not need to. What matters is that you understand why I am leading you this way. There will be doors that open without effort. There will be encounters that seem random, but are divinely orchestrated. This is not luck. This is the timing of the one who wrote your story. My child, rising does not begin with grand actions, but with faithfulness in the small ones. The seemingly insignificant choices, how you treat others, how you respond to criticism, how you steward your time, how you care for your soul, these are the first steps of your rising. For one who is called to carry influence cannot lack faithfulness in the basics. This is not exaggerated spirituality. This is heaven's reality. Those who are faithful in little will be entrusted with much. Rising also requires a new rhythm, the rhythm of those who walk in light instead of immediate desire. Many live by impulse, but those called to rise must live by wisdom. Ordinary people choose the easy path. Chosen people choose the right one, even when it costs them. The rhythm of rising is the rhythm of steadiness, neither rushed nor hesitant, unmoved by sudden shifts, unshaken by tremors. As I lead you into this season, know that I am opening doors that match the inner work already done in you. Not doors of display, but doors of purpose. Not doors that lead to applause, but doors that lead to depth. I will bring you to places your heart is ready to serve. I will connect you with those your spirit is equipped to lift. I will entrust you with assignments I know you are now strong enough to carry, not because you are flawless, but because you have allowed me to transform you. O one who is rising, the door will not open because you try harder. It will open because you align with it. The right door always recognizes the right soul. Just as a key does not need force, but only the correct position to turn, the role meant for you in this new season will unfold easily. The moment you stand where you were meant to stand, not because of what you can do, but because of who you have become in me. My child, I also want you to learn an important habit, the habit of stopping to listen. Rising does not always come with speed, it comes with accuracy. Even the strongest ones in Scripture knew that at crucial moments they did not run, they stopped to listen. It was not quickness that brought them to their destination, but sensitivity. Those who know how to listen will not run down the wrong path. Those who know how to be still will not waste strength on what is pointless. Those who know how to stop will not be swept away by the crowd. In the season of rising, you will experience something many people miss: the invisible protection of heaven. There will be doors that will not open even when you think you want them to. That is protection. There will be people who leave you even when you wish they would stay. That is protection. There will be opportunities that do not work out even though you gave your best. That too is protection. In this season, I will not only lead you by opening doors, but also by closing them at the right time. Understand that rising is not simply so you can go higher, but so you can stand exactly where I want you to stand and become a flame for those whose hope is going out. When a renewed person rises, they do not only change their own life, they change the atmosphere of every place they step into. They carry peace into chaos. They carry light into dim places. They carry healing into wounded spaces. They become a refuge for those who are trembling. And this is why your preparation has been so long, because you will become a point of stability for those who come after you. O child who is stepping into the season of rising, let your heart grow quiet in this part, for this is the moment I show you not only how to stand up, but how to stand firm. True rising is not measured by the moment you step out, but by your ability to keep the light burning when you face headwinds, criticism, challenges, and new tests of the soul. The season of rising always carries two opposing forces. On one side is the heavenly current lifting you higher, drawing you into the place I want you to stand. On the other side is the pull of what used to be familiar, comfortable, and easy. On one side is the urging of the light calling you to move forward. On the other side are invisible ties trying to hold you back. On one side is confirmation from heaven. On the other is doubt from your own heart. No one enters a new season without feeling these two forces tug at them at the same time. Spiritual stability does not appear when the pull disappears, but when you choose the right direction, even while your emotions still tremble. You do not have to feel strong immediately. You simply must not turn back. No power of darkness can defeat the one who has decided never to return to their old ground, never to step back into their own shadows, never to make peace with the voice of the past. In the season of rising, the first thing you must learn is holy perseverance. Perseverance is not stubbornness. It is the commitment of a heart that understands why it is walking. Perseverance is when you gently step out of the urgency of proving yourself and refuse to be dragged into meaningless races with others. Perseverance is when you keep doing what is right even when you see no results yet. Perseverance is when you keep your heart soft before me and hard against temptation. This perseverance will mark the difference between those who endure and those who only burn bright for a moment. Rising requires more than perseverance. You must also learn another art, the art of remaining humble in authority. When I entrust something to you, it is not to place you above others, but to place you in the right position to serve. Authority is not a symbol of greatness, but a tool for lifting, healing, guiding, and clearing the way for those who come after you. The one who lacks humility uses authority to prove themselves. The one who is truly transformed uses authority to set others free. I want to show you a secret. Very few understand. Humility does not weaken authority. It makes authority transparent, powerful, and unshakable. When the humble act, no one can deny the true source of that power. It is not your power, it is mine flowing through a person who does not try to steal the light. And the ones who do not fight for glory are the ones I trust to carry even more. In the season of rising, you must also learn how to protect the fire, not just the fire that blazes strongly in a moment, but the fire that burns steadily, even when the wind changes direction. Many lose their flame not because the enemy is strong, but because they forget that fire must be tended. Fire is often extinguished by small things: fatigue, overwork, lack of watchfulness, conversations that drain the spirit, subtle comparisons, unnecessary expectations. To guard the flame, you must nourish the life within with quiet hours, with deep breaths in my presence, by saying no to things that drain you without bearing fruit, by choosing environments that are healthy for your soul, by feeding yourself with what is pure, gentle, and restorative. To sustain your rising, you must learn to pause before exhaustion, instead of waiting until you are empty to come to me. No one walks far if they live only on emotional bursts. Those who journey long must adjust their pace, listen to their own body, care for their soul, and protect personal space for recovery. This is not weakness, it is the wisdom of those who carry weight. Rising will also reveal who truly belongs to your journey and who no longer does. When you stand up, some will rejoice for you, others will feel disturbed. Some will be inspired, others will feel threatened. Some will remain, some will leave. I do not force anyone to stay in your life. I only want you to discern who I have sent and who you must release. Those who are sent to you will resonate with your vision. Those who do not belong will create distraction, jealousy, or heaviness. Do not grieve when someone walks away. That is how I protect you from ties that no longer align with where you are going. The season of rising requires a light pace, a wide spirit, and purified relationships. Not everyone can hold that rhythm. I will also teach you how to walk in discernment. Those who rise do not walk by emotion but by sharp spiritual clarity. Not everything good is the right thing. Not every open door comes from me. Not every opportunity is worth your time. You must learn to choose what brings life, what brings peace, what I affirm, what expands your spirit instead of shrinking it. Discernment does not come from knowing many things, but from staying close to the source of wisdom. When you keep your heart near me, discernment comes like breathing, effortless, unforced. You will perceive what is right before your mind has time to analyze it. You will sense what is not for you the moment it draws near. That is the spiritual instinct planted in those who have been remade. True rising does not simply make you strong, it makes you light. When you stand in the right place, you no longer need to prove anything. When you walk in the right direction, you no longer need to compete. When you walk in the light, you no longer worry whether others see you. You do not step forward to be noticed. You step forward to fulfill what I have written for you, and when you live like that, freedom will cover you. You will see me act on your behalf in matters you cannot handle on your own. You will see me open paths in places you once thought were dead ends. You will see me send the right help through the right people at the right time. For those who rise do not walk alone, they walk with the heavens. My beloved child, you are standing in the light of rising. Listen very closely here, because this is where I reveal a dimension many never enter, the dimension of expanded influence. If the previous two sections helped you rise and stand firm, then this one will show you how the light you carry will not only remain within you, but extend into the spaces around you, into the lives of others, into realms you never imagined. You could touch. This is not expansion born from ambition, but from the inner maturity you gained through seasons of refining and renewal. First, you must understand that true influence never begins with you seeking it. True influence is the natural result of harmony between your soul and the intentions of heaven. It is not forced, it flows. It is not something you build by human strength, it emerges when your nature has been transformed deep enough. A renewed life spreads like fragrance, requiring no keys, no display, no noise. It simply permeates, impacts, and shifts what is around it. Expansion of influence begins first in the invisible realm. Before you see anything change outwardly, the spiritual atmosphere around you has already widened. The way you think alters that atmosphere. The way you feel alters that atmosphere. The way you respond to life alters that atmosphere. When you bring a renewed spirit into any environment, that environment becomes affected by your peace, your steadiness, and your clarity, even when others cannot explain why they feel lighter in your presence. This is the first sign of expansion. Others begin to sense what you carry without you explaining it. They sense safety in your words. They sense calm when you are near. They sense encouragement without you trying. They sense something different, something they cannot name. Such is spiritual influence. Quiet, yet powerful. Gentle, yet deep silent, yet able to break heavy things inside people. O one who is being enlarged, influence does not open for those who still carry judgment in their spirit. True influence is not the ability to control others. It is the ability to lift them into the place they were meant to stand. You are not called to rule over anyone, but to serve with light. The lives I place before you are not for you to fix through your own will, but for you to sow into them seeds of truth, peace, and awareness. When you no longer carry the burden of trying to change anyone, your influence becomes purer and deeper than ever. In this stage of expansion, you will also be led into meaningful encounters. There are people I have prepared long before now, waiting only for you to arrive at the right moment so their connection with you can be formed. You will meet souls searching for a light they cannot name. You will meet wounded hearts looking for a safe place. You will meet people standing on the edge of decisions for whom your words will help restore hope. These encounters are not random. They are pieces of a larger tapestry you have not yet fully seen. My child, I also want you to know that expansion of influence does not happen only in beautiful moments. It also happens in trials. When others see how you stand firm in adversity, they will look to you for answers they could not find elsewhere. When they see you maintain peace in chaos, they will recognize that you are not walking by your own strength. When they see you remain patient, kind, and gentle, even when hearts around you have grown cold, that itself becomes the deepest testimony. Here is the truth I want etched into your spirit. The strongest light is not the light that shines in the day, but the light that stands firm through the night. Your light does not need to be announced. It is confirmed by the way you live. When influence begins to expand, something natural will occur. Your voice will change. Not in the sense that you will speak louder, but in the sense that your words will become sharper, gentle, yet penetrating. Your words will no longer be just words. They will become seeds. Those who hear you will not only hear sound, they will hear life. One sentence from a renewed soul can heal the pain of another. A timely word can break invisible chains. A simple encouragement can open a new future for someone. Your influence will reach far beyond what you imagine. Things you do quietly may travel in ways you never expect. A single act of kindness can become inspiration for someone who has never met you. A word you write or speak in silence may reach the exact person I intended, even when you have no idea how it happened. Light never stays still. It always finds a way to shine farther. I will never place you in the middle of expansion without the protection you need. I will surround you with intercessors, even if they never say it aloud. I will build invisible fences around your spirit so that the arrows of darkness cannot pierce the deepest places of your heart. I will strengthen your discernment so you can identify what is not from me before it comes too close, and I will reinforce your peace so you do not get pulled into the chaos of the environments you are sent to. Every step you take becomes a message. Some will learn how to stand by watching you stand. Some will learn how to believe by watching you believe. Some will learn how to let go by watching you release what you must. Some will learn how to walk through fear because they saw you walk through your own. Your light does not shine for you alone. It shines for those searching for direction. This stage of expanding influence is also the stage where you must keep your heart softer than ever. For it is in the softness of the soul that you become a clear channel. Hardness distorts the light. Softness reflects it accurately. A heart hardened by old wounds cannot carry long-lasting influence. But a heart softened through healing becomes a river that never stops flowing. O child, entering the final stage of the journey, This is where I speak to you with tenderness, yet great weight. Everything you have been through was never a collection of random fragments. They were threads I have woven in exact order. Not one moment was wasted. Not one tear was meaningless. Not one stumble was ignored. Not one prayer was unheard. You have walked through the valley, the silence, the testing, the rising, and the expansion, and now you are stepping into the season of completion where everything begins to align exactly as I intended from the beginning. Completion does not come when everything around you becomes perfect. It comes when your inner life reaches a sacred equilibrium, when your heart is no longer swayed by the opinions of others, no longer bent by temporary circumstances, no longer controlled by old wounds, and no longer led by fear. Spiritual completion is not the absence of flaws. It is the ability to stand in the right place, even when the world around you remains chaotic. Remember the seasons when you thought you were forgotten. In truth, I was rooting you. Remember the moments when you desperately asked for answers. In truth, I was adjusting your heart so you could receive them. Remember the experiences you saw as failures. In truth, they were lessons shaping you into depth. Every event, every person, every closed door, every opened opportunity, they were all part of a delicate arrangement guiding you to where you now stand. O child of wisdom now unfolding, completion comes when you understand why I never allowed you to take shortcuts. Shortcuts steal depth. Shortcuts strip strength. Shortcuts create success without foundation. But you were made to endure, not to flare brightly and fade away. So I allowed you to walk through seasons you did not understand, the not yet that weighed heavily on your heart, the delays that made you want to quit the encounters that seemed unrelated. But now as you look back, you will see nothing was outside my hand. Completion of the journey begins when you realize that my desire was never merely for you to be strong, but for you to be mature. Strength can appear in a moment. Maturity must be built through years. Strength can rise from the adrenaline of effort. Maturity comes from repeated right choices. Strength makes you stand up. Maturity keeps you standing. Strength helps you overcome trials. Maturity prevents you from returning to old patterns. In that maturity, you finally understand why I allowed you to walk through seasons of solitude. Solitude helped you hear me clearly because all other voices grew silent. Solitude revealed parts of yourself you once hid. Solitude makes you become who you truly are, not the version others expected. Many resist solitude, but you pass through it, and that is why you are now being completed. Completion also comes when you embrace divine boundaries, not boundaries of weakness, but of wisdom. You are not called to do everything. You cannot carry the whole world. You cannot solve every pain. Not every battle is yours. I give you gifts, but I also give you borders to protect you. A person matured in me is not the one who does the most, but the one who does precisely what I assign, releases what I do not assign, and does not interfere with what I am working out with someone else. As you step into completion, you will see a profound truth. Everything external you once thought needed to change was merely a reflection of what inside you has already been healed. The darkness around you no longer easily shakes you. The chaos around you no longer pulls you. Criticism no longer fractures your heart. Praise no longer inflates your ego. You begin to live from within, no longer defined by what others say. That is the sign of a soul made complete in me. Oh, my child, the completion of the journey unfolds. Yet another dimension you begin to see, my pattern woven into your life. You see how I used weakness to birth strength. You see how I used delay to teach you patience. You see how I used loss to make room for rebuilding. You see how I used silence to prepare a new word. You see how things that once seemed contradictory now fit together in harmony, shaping the person you have become. In completion, you also gain the ability to hold peace the way you hold breath, not by effort, not by striving, not by fighting for it, but peace becomes your natural response. For the soul that has walked through fire, through waters, through storms, through darkness and still remains, knows that true peace does not come from a life without trouble, but from the knowledge that no matter what happens, I am here, and I remain who I am. Completion is also revealed through the ability to no longer require answers immediately. The immature need to understand before they believe. The mature believe even before they understand. You no longer need to see the whole map to take one step. You no longer need to know the outcome to obey. You no longer need to control in order to feel safe. You only need me, and that is the pinnacle of completion. My beloved child, you are stepping into the most pivotal section of your journey. Open your heart wide, for now I will reveal to you a truth that not everyone is permitted to see. Destiny is not something that appears by chance. It is a design woven through every season, every event, every person, and every decision of your heart. What you once perceived as scattered pieces are in reality interconnected strands forming a structure so intricate that only the hand of the author could weave it. Destiny is not luck. It is not a coincidence. It is not something that simply happens. Destiny is the trajectory your soul was designed to walk into, and every experience you have ever gone through, joy, sorrow, missteps, returns, moments of breaking, are intersections shaping the lines of that trajectory. It is time for me to show you how I arrange things. First, know this: destiny never unfolds apart from your truest essence. Many never touch what they were meant to become, not because they lack ability, but because they never return to the deepest part of their soul. But you have traveled through cleansing, through darkness, through trial, through restoration, and now what is within you and what I have called you to be are finally aligning. When essence and destiny intersect, it is the sign that the time has come. The unfolding of destiny never begins externally. It begins with an inner shift, silence becoming deeper, discernment becoming sharper, old noises losing their power, peace remaining, even when undercurrents stir. These are the signs that you are being brought to a significant convergence point where what I planted in you from the beginning is being activated. Destiny does not open through opportunity. Destiny opens through inward readiness. The door I open for you will not open if you are not prepared. I never take you into a place where your inner life is not strong enough to stand. This is why the seasons you called delay were actually seasons of internal preparation, strengthening your soul to hold a future you had not yet seen. The arrangement of destiny always includes strategic people. No one steps into destiny alone. As you draw closer to the moment of being placed in your appointed position, I will place certain people around you, those who support, those who walk with you, those who open doors, those who guide, those who strengthen, those who go before you, and sometimes even those who challenge or discomfort you. Each plays a distinct role. The encourager helps you pass the first thresholds. The corrector keeps your heart aligned. The opposer sharpens your spirit. The believer propels you forward. The questioner helps refine what you carry. The like-minded keeps you from isolation. None of them appear at random. I bring them at the precise moment you need them. Destiny is also arranged through chosen environments. There are places into which I lead you solely to teach you one crucial lesson. There are places where you stay only temporarily. There are places where you remain longer because your roots need time to grow deep. There are places you expect to leave, but I keep you there until my work is finished. And there are places you want to stay, but I will pull you away because the season has ended. Every environment is a room in the school of destiny. Not every room is comfortable, but every room is necessary. Destiny never unfolds all at once. It unfolds layer by layer. Just as dawn does not explode in an instant but spreads slowly through gradients of light, the portrait of your destiny is being revealed one layer after another. You cannot see the summit from the foot of the hill. You cannot understand the purpose of the valley while still inside it. But child, I say this to comfort your heart. Every layer you step into leads you closer to the next. No step is off course. No chapter is meaningless. No trial fails to add substance to your calling. Each is a layer of destiny. The arrangement of destiny always comes with refining tests, not to push you down, but to ensure that when you stand in your appointed place, your heart is pure, your motives are clean, your intentions aligned, and your posture steadfast. Destiny does not arrive only with greater responsibility. It arrives with deeper influence. And if your inner roots are misaligned, that influence can harm instead of bring life. Therefore, I test you not to watch you fail, but to make sure you do not fail when destiny is finally placed upon your shoulders. The arrangement of destiny also contains perfect timing. I never say not yet when I mean no, and I never say wait to discourage you. My timing is not measured by earthly calendars, but by the maturity of your inner being. Destiny is not luck. It is not a coincidence. It is not something that simply happens. Destiny is the trajectory your soul was designed to walk into, and every experience you have ever gone through, joy, sorrow, missteps, returns, moments of breaking, are intersections shaping the lines of that trajectory. It is time for me to show you how I arrange things. First, know this: destiny never unfolds apart from your truest essence. As you enter the decisive chapter, you will begin to realize that what you once called success is no longer sufficient. What you once called aspiration is no longer fitting. And what you once labeled as failure has now become precious treasure. For destiny does not require perfection. Destiny requires a heart aligned in the right direction. Destiny's arrangement is also revealed through the rhythm of divine guidance. There are moments when I pull you swiftly like a fierce wind to detach you from things that no longer serve your growth. There are moments when I lead you gently like falling rain, so you may absorb each lesson deeply. Sometimes I place you in wide spaces so you may rise higher. Sometimes I place you in narrow places so you may learn to focus. No rhythm is wrong, for I, myself, am the keeper of rhythm. O child of light, you now stand at the final intersection where every loose thread of your journey is being pulled together into a complete form. This is not the end. This is crystallization, a moment in which you look back, look within, look around, and look upward, and suddenly see with clarity that not one single step you took was wasted. You walked trembling, but I walked beside you with certainty. You wept in nights no one knew about, but I gathered every tear as morning dew. You thought you were lost, but in truth, you were simply navigating the essential turns that would bring you to exactly where you were meant to stand. Fortifying you is not adding something new. It is strengthening what you already carry, so it becomes solid as bedrock. I reinforce what has been built. I secure the foundation you constructed through faithfulness. I transform the weaknesses you once feared into the very places where my power is revealed. I turn what once wavered into pillars. For the season you are about to enter does not merely require maturity, it requires steadfastness. You have gone through long seasons of training. Now I will anchor what you have learned so deeply that it becomes a natural reflex rather than effort. Kindness, once difficult, will become instinctive. Discernment, once requiring intense concentration, will become effortless. Patience, once a battlefield, will become gentle. Peace, once something you had to search for, will flow continuously. What once demanded strength will now emerge as your nature. This is fortification. My completion is not like human completion. Humans finish with a period. I finish with an open door. Completion is not ceasing. Completion is the finishing of one cycle that opens into another. Consider a great tree. When one growth ring is complete, it does not die. It forms a new layer, stronger, thicker, more resilient. So it is with you. You are adding another ring to your journey, the ring of awareness, of maturity, of grounded strength. An unrefined soul oscillates between extremes: ecstatic impulsiveness when glad withdrawal, when wounded pride, when praised discouragement, when criticized. But a soul completed in Mayan stands in the eye of the storm, without falling rests in silence, without fear, stands on the mountaintop, without arrogance, and walks through the valley without despair. You become an anchor, no longer swayed by external turbulence. I have walked with you long enough for you to know that completion is revealed not only through peace, but also through clarity. I will show you what to continue, what to release, what to adjust, and what to expand. I will show you which relationships have fulfilled their purpose and must now be let go, and which new relationships must be welcomed. I will show you what I have closed and what I am opening. You will no longer walk in confusion. You will walk in direction. My beloved, fortification also comes through the reordering of your inner world. Priorities that once blurred will come into clear alignment. Things that once distracted you will fall away without the need for struggle. Heavy burdens will grow light. Worries that once consumed you will lose their grip. You will begin to live with focus, with purpose, without scattered thoughts or fragmented emotion. Clarity will become your new companion. Completion never arrives without the companionship of my Spirit. He is the breath that propels you forward, the peace that shields you, the strength in your weakness, the light that guides you into places you've never been. As you step into this new chapter, you will sense His nearness, not as a distant whisper, but as a flowing stream weaving through the stones. He will remind you to rise when you forget. He will remind you to pause when you move too quickly. He will realign you when you drift. He will remind you that you are not walking alone, you never have. There is a subtle truth I want you to carry. Completion ushers you into a maturity where you learn to release what no longer serves the next season. The immature cling to what is past: old roles, old expectations, old habits, old emotions. But the completed soul knows that to enter tomorrow, one must leave behind what is no longer alive. Not everything from yesterday belongs to tomorrow. Not every old bag can cross into the new chapter. You must become lighter to rise higher. This is the moment I place within you a quiet boldness, not loud, not impulsive, not hurried, but steady, regal, confident, standing upon the foundation I, myself, have secured. This boldness keeps you from fearing what is new, from trembling before the unknown, from shrinking back when challenges grow larger. I did not bring you this far for you to stop at the threshold. I brought you here so you would step through. You are anointed to finish, not merely to begin. You are given strength to go the whole distance, not just halfway. You are given steadfastness to keep the flame, not merely to ignite it. You are given wisdom to discern, not merely to know. You are given compassion to heal, not merely to survive. You are given peace to stand firm, not merely to seek shelter. And now I speak the final word, the word that encases your entire journey. You did not arrive here by accident. You arrived because I led you, I shaped you, I healed you, I taught you, I guarded you, I lifted you, and I prepared you for this precise moment. Step into the new chapter with confidence that comes from heaven, not from your own strength. Step with gratitude for every season behind you, and with holy expectation for every season before you. Step as one who knows you are not left behind, not lost, not forgotten. Step as one who is called. Step as one who is loved. Step as one who carries light. Thank you for listening to today's message. Please remember to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so we can continue to receive His living words together. build a steadfast faith, and walk daily in the boundless love of the Lord. Amen.